Hello everyone, it's Heather. I'd like to wish all of you a happy new year. I'd also like to encourage everyone, whether you're new to the channel or not, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, to please take a second and click on that subscribe button. If you haven't already, please be sure to go back and watch my video 2020 in review, which I will link right up here. In that video, I talked about the traveling that we did do in 2020. I'm curious to know if any of you traveled in 2020, and if you did, where did you go? What was it like? And if you did not do any traveling in 2020, was it simply because of the pandemic, or were there other reasons that you chose or were not able to travel in 2020? Be sure to leave these in the comments below. I really am interested in hearing your stories. All right, now it's time to talk about our personal family travel outlook for 2021. First, I want to say that as much as everyone might be breathing a sigh of relief that 2020 is over, the fact remains we are still deep in the midst of the pandemic. And you shouldn't really expect much to change as far as travel goes for probably the majority of 2021. And in some ways, I think that we're probably actually even in a worse position now than we were before, because there have been many, many more cases since there were at the beginning of the pandemic and through even the summer of 2020, and there have been many, many more deaths. There's also a lot of travel restrictions still in place in the United States and throughout the world, making travel extremely difficult. The first thing I need to tell you is that as of this moment, we have absolutely nothing booked in 2021. We have not even a hotel reservation made anywhere. We have no plans at all. Now, there are three main reasons for this. Number one is my recent injury. If you haven't been following, I will link the playlist for that up above, and there are still more videos to come. On Friday, December 4th, I fell down my concrete basement stairs and fractured my left ankle and badly sprained my right ankle. I am getting around the house okay. I can hobble around. I have 2 walking boots that I can walk around okay. It does hurt the longer I'm on my feet. However, I still cannot drive at the time that I'm filming this video. So that is definitely a factor in our being able to travel anywhere in 2021. Right now, I can't even travel to the grocery store. I had hoped, as I always do at this time of year, because once we get into winter, it's really nice to have some nice warm destination on the books to go to at spring break. Our spring break this year is like the teens of March 14, 15, right around there. It would be fantastic if we could go to Florida or someplace for spring break this year. However, I really don't know if that's going to happen for all 3 of the reasons I'm going to state, but especially because I have no idea where I will be in my recovery of my ankles by that point. So I really don't know how long my ankle injury is going to put off our being able to travel. Not only because I can't drive at the moment, but also because if you've watched any of my travel vlogs for the past 2.5 years, you know that we do a lot of walking. We do a lot of walking, we do a lot of hiking, we bike, we do a lot of things that require me to have full and complete use of my feet and ankles. So the injury is definitely putting a major hindrance on our ability to travel in 2021, at least at the beginning. The second thing that is preventing me from being able to book anything at the moment for 2021 is a complete and total lack of money. I last worked on March 10th, 2020, have not worked since, other than I really do consider my YouTube channel to be my job. I work very hard on my YouTube channel. I really would like to eventually get to over 1,000 subscribers so that I can monetize my channel. My son Ben's channel, if you haven't checked out Ben's channel, be sure to check it out. I'll link it right up here. His channel has been monetized for a while, and our family is earning money from that ad revenue. However, it's still at the beginning and he's not earning a ton. So it would be really great if my channel could start earning ad revenue too. Again, I urge you to subscribe if you have not already. because that would be a source of income for our family. I exhausted my unemployment and the extended benefits well before the end of 2020. I had applied for pandemic unemployment assistance, but as I'm sure many of you are aware, that expired when President Trump neglected to sign the COVID stimulus bill by December 26th. I'm sure by the time this video goes up, we'll have had more news about that, but I am a little concerned that we may not see any stimulus money until after President-elect Biden takes office on January 20th. We'll just have to wait and see about that. And obviously that may have changed by the time this video goes live on my channel. But I also have not received any child support for years. So we really don't have much income right now, and just paying the regular bills is a struggle. So being able to have enough money to book anything, to even book anything far in advance, is really going to be a challenge right now, because obviously we have to just have enough money to survive. I don't really know what the future of work looks like for me. I had been trying to find a new job for 13 years. I've been applying for jobs and trying to get out of teaching for 13 years with absolutely no success. I have had many interviews and have never gotten the job. I don't know what the problem is. I have 2 bachelor's degrees. I can't tell you. If you've been out there applying for work and struggling like this, I know I'm not alone in this. There are many people that have really struggled. And now, since the pandemic, the job market is even much worse. Because I'm a high-risk individual, and because my sons are both high-risk individuals, going out and working out in public, any place outside of the home, is not an option for me during the pandemic. And unfortunately, I haven't had any luck finding any kind of remote or work-at-home work either. So that's definitely been tough. I've also struggled to see how I would even have time for a job with all of my responsibilities just as a mom and with my kids doing school at home and everything. If you go back and watch this playlist that I did in September of a day in the life, I actually did a week in the life. I did a whole week of our life. You can see how busy I am every day. And I'm sure many parents can relate to me in this. So I really don't know what the future holds for me as far as income. I really do hope that my YouTube channel will eventually take off and can be a source of income for our family. Okay, the third reason is the big old elephant in the room, and that's the pandemic. The pandemic is a major problem. It's causing all sorts of mess. The travel industry is basically devastated because of the pandemic. Millions of people who work in the travel sector have been out of work for a very long time and are struggling. There's numerous travel restrictions still in place, both in the United States and elsewhere. There's reductions in flights. There's no cruises, not to mention the inherent health risk that comes with traveling, which obviously I want to avoid. So those 3 things, my injury, a lack of money, and the pandemic, are making travel in 2021 look very unlikely. So what does that mean for us? Well, basically, as much as I don't like to say this, we're just going to have to wait and see. And I think that's probably the case for most of you. We're just going to have to wait and see. I read an article recently that talked about 3 potential paths that the pandemic might take. And they're dependent on a few things. One is the rollout of the vaccine and the mass distribution of the vaccine. I mean, we're in America probably focused on how is the vaccine being distributed in the United States, within our own states, who's getting it first, all that kind of thing. But we also have to remember that this is a pandemic, which means it's everywhere on the planet. It's even in Antarctica now. It's gotten to every single continent. So we need to be worried not only about the vaccine rollout in the United States, we need to be worried about the vaccine distribution everywhere. Because if people aren't getting vaccinated all over the planet, people could still travel and bring the virus to us. We could still pick it up when we travel if we're not vaccinated. They still aren't sure if getting the vaccine actually makes you not contagious, or if it's possible you could still contract the virus and spread it to other people. So that's a problem. And also, other countries are still struggling with controlling the virus. That's going to limit our ability to travel to those places too if they don't have the vaccine and people aren't getting vaccinated. A second complication is vaccine reluctance, which is especially prevalent in the United States. There are a lot of people who are saying they're not going to get the vaccine. And the way that vaccines work is everybody has to get it. It only really protects the person who gets the shot from getting sick. So until at least 70 to 80% of the population of a given place are vaccinated, the vaccine is not effective in, I'd say, eliminating, but at least in really tamping down whatever that disease is. I'm pretty sure the only disease that we've completely eradicated from the planet in the public is smallpox. Otherwise, all the other things that we get vaccines for are still present on the planet, and people get sick and die of them all of the time. It's only by mass vaccinations that we're able to keep the majority of people from suffering and dying from those diseases. So vaccine reluctance is a real issue. The third thing, which you've probably been following, is that the virus has already started to mutate. There's a new, very concerning strain of the virus that's been found in the United Kingdom and in South Africa, and has very likely already spread all over the planet, just like the original form of the virus. At the time I'm filming this video, they're testing this new variant of the virus against the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to see if the vaccines still work on this new variant of the virus. If they don't, they're going to have to update the vaccines so that they do work against the new variant. And that's obviously going to be a factor in how those vaccines get rolled out as well. There may have to be a pause while they update the vaccine before they can continue vaccinating people. These three factors, vaccine distribution, vaccine reluctance, and mutation of the virus, are definitely going to affect the path that the pandemic takes in 2021. There's the best possible scenario, there's the worst case scenario, and the reality is probably somewhere in the messy middle. So that's a big factor too. So again, we're just going to have to wait and see. But let's talk about where we would like to go, okay? If all of these issues were resolved, we definitely plan on traveling again as soon as we can. And when we do, we have 4 priorities for travel, whether it be later in 2021 or in 2022 or however soon we can. The 4 things we really want to do are, we want to go back to Disney, or any theme park really, but we'd really like to go to Disney. Particularly, we'd really like to go to either Disneyland in California, which we have not visited since 2012, or Tokyo Disneyland, although that's probably out of the realm of possibility for the foreseeable future, or Disneyland Paris is very high on our list. So that's one thing that we're really hoping to do. The second thing that we really want to do is go on a cruise. However, that's completely going to be dependent on the cruise industry. The third thing that we want to do is we'd like to take a train trip. I've talked in a couple of previous videos about how Ben was really hoping to take an Amtrak trip last year in 2020. And we didn't get to do that because of the pandemic and everything. So we would really like to take either an Amtrak trip, or I would be happy to take some kind of train trip in Europe as well, which I think would also kind of check his box for that one. Which brings me to the fourth thing that we really want to do, which is very high priority, which is I very badly want to take Megan and Ben to Europe. Andrew was just saying when he was home on Christmas Eve that he really misses Europe and he really wants to go back to Europe. However, Andrew is the one of us who has been to Europe the most recently. He spent almost a month in Italy in January of 2019. Yeah, 2019. But I haven't been to Europe since 2007, and Megan and Ben have never been there. If you've been following along with our channel for a while, you know that Megan was supposed to go to France and Switzerland in June of 2020, and that trip, of course, was canceled because of the pandemic. I really want to get those kids to Europe. I really want to go back to Europe. There are so many places in Europe that I want to go. However, at the time I'm filming this video, it's difficult, if not impossible, for Americans to travel to Europe. So those are our 4 highest priorities and the things we really want to do as soon as possible. Okay, Megan also had a really cool suggestion. I have been to all 48 of the contiguous United States. The only states I haven't been to are Alaska and Hawaii. I want to go to both. I'm going to be 50 next year in 2022. And Megan had this cool idea. Hey, Mom, what if you did 50 states by 50? And I thought that is a great idea. I would love if I could make that happen, if I could somehow go to Hawaii and Alaska before I turn 50. I mean, timing-wise, it's possible. Even if we couldn't travel until 2022, we could go to Hawaii in January and Alaska for my birthday or in June or something. It's not out of the realm of possibility. The biggest factor probably would be what's happening with the pandemic and money, because both of those trips would be quite expensive. So that's an idea that I still have floating around in my head. And obviously that's kind of on a deadline. Then, in addition to those things, I also have some key times that I really wish we could travel in the next year or so. Obviously, like I said at the beginning, I would like to travel somewhere for this upcoming spring break. However, that's less than 70 days away. I don't know how realistic that is with my ankles. It'd have to probably be a driving trip again. We're not comfortable flying with the pandemic at the current state that it's in. And I don't know how likely that is. Okay. And then I always like to travel over my birthday. I don't like being at home for my birthday. And so August is another time. That seems more likely, but what we would be able to do would be kind of up in the air. Maybe Disneyland would be open by then. I wouldn't want to drive to California and we'd have to wait and see, but maybe we would all be vaccinated by then. So maybe we would be able to fly somewhere for my birthday. So that's a possibility. Then I have so many Christmas things. Again, if you've been following for a while, you knew that we had a whole Christmas themed trip planned over Thanksgiving break 2020, which we canceled because of the state of the pandemic at the time and the CDC's urging for Americans not to travel over Thanksgiving. I was super bummed that we didn't get to do that. And so I have so many things I want to do over Christmas. That brings me to the thought about Disney. Disneyland and Disney World especially. I really want to go to one or both of those at Christmas time. I think it was Christmas time when I went in 2000, I don't know, whenever that time was when I went with I was 19 years old and I went with my dad and my boyfriend. I think it was November or December. And also we went in November, like late November, the time I was pregnant with Megan, when it was my dad, my husband, Andrew was like 6, and I was pregnant with Megan at the time. But either they didn't do all of the things that they do now, or I just don't remember it. Because I feel like at the time of year we were there, they must have been all decorated for Christmas, but like everything you see now with all the Christmas holiday treats and stuff like that, I don't remember any of that, or I wasn't paying attention. So I really want to experience that. Here's the thing with going to Disney World particularly. We've been there multiple times now, like February, March. The last 3 times we've been there, it's been the Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot. First of all, this is very bad for Ben's allergies. And secondly, we've done that already. I would really like to go to Disney World in November, December, January, or February. Particularly, I'd like to go for either the Festival of the Holidays at Epcot or for the Festival of the Arts at Epcot. So that would put us in November, December, January, February. Also, weather, much more appealing to me at those times. I think it's so funny how low the attendance was at Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day. Adam the Woo did a video on that day about it, and he was like walking right on the rides because it was like in the 50s. That would be heaven to me. Like, the temperature here right now is like 14 degrees. So the fact that people were staying away from going to Walt Disney World because it was too cold, I just find that laughable. We would be happy as clams and probably be wearing shorts. So that's kind of just for the future of going to Disney. I really want to try to go at one of those times. Another time that I would be okay with going to Disneyland or Disney World, I kind of would like to go at Halloween time, like in October, because the kids are really into Halloween and I think would really enjoy that. Going back to special times that we want to go, other things that are coming up are in 2022, we have a few big things. I'm turning 50, Megan's turning 18, and Megan is graduating from high school. These are all 3 key big milestone things happening in 2022. So part of me is a little bit hesitant to book anything real expensive in 2021 because I might need whatever money I have to book something big for one or more of those big milestone events in 2022, especially my 50th birthday. I am really, really hoping to do a Northern European cruise with all 3 of my kids for my 50th birthday. That's going to be a significant expense, both for the cruise itself and for airfare and lodging and everything. And so I'm really kind of focused on that one, but there's so many other things I want to do. I miss traveling so much. How about you guys? So anyway, that's the outlook for 2021 and kind of also going into 2022. I will, of course, keep you updated on this channel on any travel plans that we make or anything that we end up doing. And if we go anywhere, there will, of course, be an abundance of vlogs for you to enjoy. Once again, be sure you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of it. And in the meantime, until we can travel again, I will still strive to produce high quality, entertaining, and informative content for you, including continued life at home vlogs, continued updates on my ankle injury situation, our monthly Universal Yums taste testing videos, and my monthly travel news updates. So there's still lots of content coming. Please be sure you're subscribed. Give me a thumbs up down below if you liked this video. And be sure to share in the comments if you have any travel plans in 2021. I'd love to hear what they are. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Happy New Year and safe travels.